Hi, my name's Matt. Welcome to the Salvage Circus. Today, we're going to be talking about a project that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. It's salvaging marble flooring from a large preeminent building in Philadelphia. If you like my videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. And I always appreciate feedback. I like to hear what people are thinking, and I enjoy hearing from people who have the same passions for these things that I do. So today we're going to be looking at some of the marble that is here. I've laid down on the ground some big octagons that have a accent red and white marble center medallion. There is a bunch of different kinds of white marble squares from 1 foot by 1 foot to 2 feet by 2 feet. A lot of different patterns. There's a lot of these octagons which you see laid out with the red accent piece. There is gray marble of varying colors and hues, some of it lighter, some of it darker. There is this marble, and some of the larger slabs is King of Prussia blue marble. It was generally against the walls and was wider pieces of it. It's highly desired marble, and it's increasingly rare to find. There was a lot of different patterns in the building. There was a lot of red marble. This is a palette of the center medallions for the large octagons. And like I said, there's a lot of different patterns. There was half triangle pieces. There was smaller. There was larger pieces. There was some really large pieces that are all King of Prussia blue. Not common to find it as flooring. It's a highly desired marble and is increasingly rare, but these are large slabs of them, very heavy. If you look on the backs of these, some of them were just broken out of the quarries and in places were thin and thick, and some of them were actually cut out with, they would actually like bore holes straight down, and then it would just break off. And that people often, that actually is at a premium because people like that look. It's when it's clean and all the little remnants of mortar and dust is off of it, it's a very interesting sort of pattern. So these are sort of at a premium. There are individual pieces that I just took one to show you sort of intact what some of these various patterns would be. It would be a darker white marble, darker, and you can see how thick the wet bed is on back of them. This is cementous wet bed, but not particularly new, so still able to get that off fairly easy. Old lime base plaster wet bed is very simple to get off, especially when it's wet. I'll show you over here. I'll grab a chisel and I'll show you what the difference is. This is old plaster. This is lime. It's just been sitting here. But you can see how sandy and how it just kind of comes apart. You can see, you often find little interesting things embedded in it. There's a piece of wood. When they were putting that floor in there 150 years ago, they would use whatever they had to sometimes build them up. You'll see pieces of stone that were left over, wood, iron. A lot of times they were things that you can see how simple that is to get off. It's been sitting here for a couple of weeks. So it has a little bit of dampness and it just sort of turns to crumble. There was a lot of repairs to the floor over time, and this is a newer tile. Old tile would have cracked or broken and they repaired it, and this is cementuous based, and you can see how much more difficult and hard that is. So the only reasonable, there's a bunch of different ways to clean it, but the only reasonable way to clean it is to use an angle grinder. It's quite quick. You get a big diamond wheel on it. I'll show you how we do it today, but I won't actually do it because it's extremely dusty. It's dirty and it's dusty. This kind, much easier. Cementuous ones, much harder. And marble is fragile, so it breaks easily. I would say of the flooring that they're bringing up, probably 60% of it is breaking. If it's a piece where you get a big clean break, like right through the middle, almost always when you're putting in a new floor, you're gonna have to make cuts for walls and, just the size of the room. So like if there was a pretty clean crack here or a crack there, I would throw away the small piece, but I would save the big piece because you're gonna have to make cuts when you reinstall the flooring. I've set up a little jig over here to sort of show you what the process of cleaning would be. I filled up last night a bunch of containers with water, trash cans, and the smaller pieces I've just put in and soaked overnight. Same way, some of these are cementuous based, some of them are lime. This is a combination. This is a older tile, but it's a cement based tile. When it sits in water, it gives itself up easily. So what you essentially do is take it and it'll just sort of go down and then it'll crack off. It's getting close and then a big piece will crack off. You can see this is a Now, I could continue on and do it with a chisel, but when I had something set up, and you can see the water has soaked through, so if you just let this, it would be very dusty. When you hit it with an angle grinder, you'd be in a cloud of dust. So I made a little jig up, and you just put it there. You would always use a pair of earmuffs. You would use a pair of safety goggles. I don't have power down here, so I would bring a generator. I would hook it up, and this is about how quickly it would take to make this smooth. You would turn it on, and it would be just about like this. And then all the mortar would be gone, and you would wind up with something like this, clean. I put a couple little boards here because I want it to be sturdy so it doesn't like move around. If it were just here, it would slide back and forth because the angle grinder is fairly strong piece of equipment. And then for the larger pieces, I would do the same thing. I would put them upside down. I would take this jig off and I would put them directly on the table. This is cementuous, so it's very hard. And I would say that would probably take 30 to 45 seconds. Exactly the same. You always use safety equipment and you just start out. If it's dry like this, it's very dusty. If you soak it in water, there is no dust, but it's very messy, and you just start like this. You get used to it, and it'll wear down. It's a diamond-tipped grinding wheel, and you would keep going around. You would see when the mortar is gone, and you're down to marble, and you would do just like that. So in a way, it's quick, but it's labor intensive. It's dirty, and most of the marble that was here, this had to be done. There's another location where I have the other half of the marble, and this is my home, so I don't want to make too much of a mess, but most of that is cleaned either at site or in the other location, and then you wind up the way we are here, where we've attempted to palletize it in like sizes. It would obviously be cleaned before it was used again, but the main thing is the mortar on the back of them is clean now, so they're ready for someone to reuse them. There's a lot of gray King of Prussia marble at the other location, and there's some other large slabs there, and it's all slowly getting consolidated to here. But it's uncommon when you get hundreds, let alone thousands of square feet of reclaimed marble. Most buildings, you know, if it's a substantial building, they don't take it up. They don't put something new down. This particular building, they had decided to completely replace the marble floors, and I would think we'll wind up with about 6,000 feet in total, mostly white, a lot of the red accent, and maybe about 900 square feet of the octagons, the large octagons and the red accent square inside them. So people often feel like reusing reclaimed material is a very difficult process or a daunting process, and it really isn't. You know, you can definitely do these projects, you know, whether it's a small project or a large project. People use these squares as plant stands to put plants on. They put them outside for outside patios and things, and goes for all the different salvage. You know, it's not tremendously hard to do, and I'm sort of living proof of it. It's definitely doable for, like I said, a normally handy do-it-yourself person can do these projects. So I hope you enjoy these videos. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll try and put out 1 or 2 a week. I enjoy them more, and I hope you do too. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.